So this is a level 4 video on the standard, which is the area of composite or simple and composite figures. So we're going to run through a couple of examples of the type of question you'll see at level 4. Some of them don't look as difficult, for example this first one, but you'll see that some of them are a little bit more challenging. Okay, so the first one here. A rectangular driveway is 23 meters long and 3 meters wide. Find the total cost of covering the driveway in concrete if materials cost $20 per square meter. So that means for every square meter that you need to cover in concrete, you have to spend €20 or $20 on materials. And also, for every square meter that you have to cover in concrete, you have to pay $25 to the labourer, to the guy who's going to do the work. So that means that you're going to have to pay $45 per meter squared, because it's 20 for materials and 20 for labour. Now, what is the area? That's what we need to find next. What is the area? So what do we do? Well, it's 23 meters by 3 meters, so 69 meters squared. So that's the area of the driveway. So, like we said, each meter squared costs 45. So we have to do, so for total cost, we do 69 times 45. Okay, and that works out to be 3,000. I just tidied that up a little bit. €3,105. Okay, and that can be got by using your calculator. Okay, next one. Okay, so the school sports fields are laid out in a rectangle 160 meters by 220 meters. Find the cost of fertilizing the grass. Ignore those red marks. I'm after removing words that aren't important. Find the cost of fertilizing the grass if 1 kilogram of fertilizer covers 80 meters squared, and it costs $25 for a 40 kilogram bag. That's a tricky question. First of all, here's what we're going to do. Here's our kind of plan for the question. We're going to find the area. Alright. Then we're going to do the area divided by 80, and that will tell us bear with me for a second. That will tell us number of kilograms needed. Yeah? And then, when we see the number of kilograms needed, we're going to divide by 40. Divided by 40. That tells you the number of bags. And then multiply by 25. It seems like a long one, doesn't it? Well, let's have a look at it. So, let's start off by getting the area of the field. So the area is 160 times 220, which can be plugged into the calculator really quickly. I'm going to do it here now myself. 160 times 220 equals 35,200 meters squared. 35,200 meters squared. Right. Now, so we know that a 1 kilo bag covers 80 meters squared. So how many 80 meters squared are there in this? Okay, well, so what we do now is so we're going to find out how many kgs needed. So we're going to do 35,200 divided by 80. And the reason we're doing that is because 1 kilogram covers 80 meters squared. Okay, so when we find out how many times 80 goes into 35,200, we're finding out how many kilos are needed for the full field. So we can do that on our calculator again. So that gives us 440 kilograms is needed. Okay? So, how many bags is that? Remember, they come in bags of 40. Each bag has 40 kilograms in it. So, we do 440 divided by 40. So that equals 11 bags we need. Yeah? And now the cost. 11 bags. 11. And I think it said in the question that it was $25 per bag. 11 times 25, $275. Alright? Tricky question. You have to think your way through it. It's not easy. Right, next. So let's have a look at what we've got here. So a wall has length 7 meters and height 2.5 meters. And we want to cover it in tiles of area 70 centimeters squared. A box of 50 tiles costs $10. How much needs to be spent on tiles to cover the whole wall? Okay. So what we need to do here is we need to find the area of the wall. We need to find how many tiles we need. Okay, when we find how many tiles we need to know how many boxes of tiles that is. If each box contains 50, how many boxes do we need to make up that number of tiles? And then we need to multiply that by 10. So let's have a look at it again. Here's the steps. We go for area. And then from area, we divide by 70. And that's going to give us number of tiles needed. Okay. Then we're going to divide that by 50 because that'll tell us the number of boxes needed. And then we're going to multiply that by 10 and that'll give us the cost. Alright. So, first up, area. So you do... Now remember that these tiles are in centimeters squared, so we're going to have to get our area in centimeters squared, not meters squared. That's a big mistake. So the area is going to be 700, because 7 meters is 700 centimeters, times 250, the same thing. Multiply those out in your calculator if you're not sure. 700 times 250 equals 175,000. Okay, and that's centimeters squared. Okay, so now that's the area. We want to know how many tiles do we need in total to fill that space. Well, each tile is 70 centimeters squared. So we have to do 175,000 divided by 70. Alright. And that means we need, again in your calculator, 2,500 tiles. So, remember there's 50 tiles in each box. So how many boxes do we need? 50 tiles per box. We're going to have to do 2,500 divided by 50. So that's equal to 50 boxes. Okay? And how much is each box? Well, each box is $10, so it's 50 times 10, which equals $500 to be spent on tiles. Okay? Right, in this one, 1 meter squared of a field, of a rectangular field, is valued at 75 cents. The total value of the field is 9,000. So if the width of the field is 48 meters, find the length of the field. Okay. So, to start off, well, if every square meter is 75 cents, and you have a total of 9,000, it's worth a total of $9,000, you want to find how many square meters do you have. You do 9,000 divided by 75 cents. Okay? Because each square meter is 75 cents. So you have loads of 75 cents. Enough of them to make up 9,000. So you want to know how many of them do I have. So what you do is, start off 9,000 divided by 0.75. Do it in your calculator. So that means that what we have is 12,000 meters squared. Alright, now this is easier from here because we know that the area of a rectangle is length times width. So in this case, length times width should give us 12,000. Okay, we don't know what the length is. We know that the width is 48, and that gives us 12,000. Okay, so something multiplied by 48 is 12,000. So what can we do? So you're basically trying to find out how many 48s fit into 12,000. So you're going to divide. You're going to get L equals 12,000 divided by 48. So it's 250. L equals 250 meters. Okay, maybe the other ones were easier, I'm not sure. It depends on how you look at it. So I'm going to show you something here that could be conceptually difficult depending on how you look at it. Some people will struggle with the concepts here. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you the measurements of composite shape, but instead of giving you numbers, I'm giving you letters to work with. So you have to find the area using that, or an expression for the area, okay? Because you're not going to find a number because there's no numbers there, it's all letters. So let's go at it the way that we would normally go at it. So we're going to do two ways, right? So I'm going to do the first way over here, over up here, right? So for this, what we're going to do, we're going to split it into two figures. We're going to have A and B. Alright? So we're going to find the area of part A first, then we're going to find the area of B, and we're going to add them. So for part A, well, if we look, the length is A, and the width is B, so it's A times B. Actually, like I always say, I'm going to change my B to one of these B's. Now, look at section B. Well, let's try and figure this out. This distance here, well, what is it? We don't know. Well, we know that this whole thing here, this whole thing is B, and this whole thing is D. And we know that if you subtract D from B, you're left with this piece here. Let's think of it in terms of numbers. Imagine that this was 10 and this was 6. Well, then we would know that this here was 4, right? Makes sense, doesn't it? You would do 10 minus 6 to give you 4. Okay, so it's a subtraction thing. So let's have a look. We're going to do B minus D, and that's going to give you this piece here. B minus D. And now we need to find out what this length here is. Yeah? Well, look where E is. Imagine that E was 10 again, and imagine that A was 4. Okay, you would know that this distance here was 6, because it'd be 10 minus 4. Okay, but instead of doing 10 minus 4, because we don't have numbers, you have to do E minus A. Okay? So, the area of that part, you have to multiply E minus A, sorry, let me tidy that up. E minus A times B minus D. And then what do we do with all of them? I'm going to erase some of these things here just to give me a bit of space. What do? You add them up, don't you? So I'm going to do that now. So the total area is A times B plus E minus A times B minus D. Alright, that's it. Simple. Now the other way you could do it, I'm going to do it over here quickly. Sorry, this is number 2. Okay, then the last one is this composite figure here. So composite figures will also be level 4. I'm going to try and make them a little bit trickier though. So there's lots of different ways you could do this. One way, complete this whole thing into a rectangle. Yeah. So from doing that, you can find the area. So you're going to know that the whole thing, this whole length here, is 6 plus 15, which is 21. And we know that, let me see, this distance here is 9 plus 3 is 12, so 21 times 12 is going to give you the area of the full rectangle, alright? So if you wanted to think of it like that. And then you would have to find the area of this piece here, which is 3 times 6, and this piece here, which is going to be, well, we said that the whole side was 12, so that's going to be 5, and that's going to be 4, because 17 plus 4 is 21. 5 times 4 divided by 2, you get the area of that triangle, and you subtract both of those pieces, this here and this here, from the rectangle. So I'm not going to do that, you can do that yourself, because I think that's one of the easier ones. Okay? So that's how it works. So that's level 4 for you.